How's life, Roz?
Pretty good.
Hey, Becky's here.
Hey, Becky.
Hello. Just getting a pen. Sorry.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
I got back from convention a week ago, but I definitely got the word out.
I've had a few people wanting to join, so that's been great.
I think maybe 5 people joined us. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's good. I think, I would say a week or 2 weeks ago, we were at 110 and now we're at 121.
Wow.
Something like that. Let me just have a check.
Picking up speed on the runway.
So yeah, it's really good to see people wanting to join up. So that's been fabulous. Oh, we've got and Lisa's here too. Hi, Lisa.
Good morning.
Yes, good
Hi,
morning.
Lisa.
Bright and early in the US. Well done for getting up. And Becky, hi. Welcome
Hi,
to
Becky.
your first hangout. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
If you hadn't noticed, I am recording it, I'll be popping it up on the network YouTube channel for others to catch up with and watch later on. So as long as you're all happy with that, that'd be great. So look, I do a couple of things. What we've done is do a quick check-in just to see how things are going on your channel, your creative endeavors, whatever's going on. We'll keep that sort of fairly brief today. And then the other thing I've suggested for today was bringing your favorite bit of tech or website or whatever it is you use in your creative process and just talk about that. And we'll see what we learn from each other. That's the intention for today. So Jack, mate, you were here first. You want to just do a quick check-in and just let us know what you're up to and how things are?
Well, some good news for me. Recently, I started doing my YouTube videos.
Okay.
Although I've not put them live because I'm going to save up a few just for consistency. So I went away up to a place called Mugduck Park. And it's beautiful scenery, and I just literally stood on a tree stump and spoke to the camera about life. And I ended up talking about how everything in the earth sort of matches with the human mind, with the 3 levels of life and so on. So it just sort of spontaneous. I quite like doing the spontaneous thing. But it needs to be a bit of editing, but I'm off the ground. That's the good news. And then the radio station is that's absolutely amazing how they've expanded the radio. They've now got licenses to cover Argyll and Bute, over to Greenock, all the way down the Clyde Valley and right over the city of Glasgow. And that's just broadcasting. So, and there's also quite a big listening catchment on the internet all over the world. So I'm not saying that they all come and listen to my show, but
sure,
but I must catch at least a percentage. It puts us out there. And there are also now the radio show has started a new country station, so it's a new station linked to Lomond Radio. So ever expanding. And the social media side, everything's shifted over. Because the Paisley Church is closed, of course, as well. So that's freed up a bit of my time to take more time, hopefully, to do the social media thing. And Becky's beginning to get into social media as well. So that's great news because we work together all the time.
Yeah,
that should be good.
Yeah, cool.
So that's a bit where I am.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Might go over to Roz. What's going on with you and Deborah's tree?
Well, one thing is, as I mentioned earlier, I talked up the network at convention, which is the annual meeting of the Swedenborgian Church, and people signed up. I was so excited to talk to Jay Chung about her work in Korea. She's got 2,000 followers in Korea for her YouTube, and so that was fun. And then for us, I started with my plan to post once a month a video about Revelation, and it is doing much better than our normal videos that we do, and I totally credit this group for giving me that idea.
Cool.
That
Oh, that's great.
revelation is, people want to hear. So that's
fabulous, Roz. Look, I'll let you know. I've put your first revelation one on our weekly update coming up, so I'll put it out with our group there as well.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Lisa.
Hi. Yeah, so while Roz was away at convention, I was home in Bernathen holding the fort. We just finished an event that was pretty cool, and I learned a whole bunch of AI. So that was cool.
Oh, cool.
I found out they're suing one of my AIs, apparently. The music generation one. So maybe we will find out shortly where we stand on if it's cool to make music with AI. But I did learn how to do that. If anyone has any questions about how to use the Suno AI to generate songs from lyrics that maybe you also have ChatGPT write because you're very lazy, you should talk to me. I could help you do that. And today I have a bunch of cameras because we're talking about stuff. So that's what's going on with me.
Cool. Fabulous. Fabulous. All right, Becky, tell us what's going on.
Well, it's not so much social media, but I have to say I'm very, very excited because I created the New Church Camps website just over a year ago to try and get out there rather than everybody coming along to New Church stuff who was already related to somebody in the new church, which I find a little bit frustrating. And somebody filled in a contact form asking if there were spaces left on the 9 to 13 summer camp, who was nothing to do with the church.
Oh, yes. Fabulous.
Not translated into a booking as yet, but if you put church, if you're in the UK and you put church camp into Google, it's fourth in the search engine. So that's what I'm excited about. And as I've not been to one of these before, I would at some point like to pick people's brains on podcasts, please.
Okay. All right. I'll note it down.
Thank you.
All right, I'll tell you what's going on with us. I'm just about to, on Friday, I've got a meeting with Swedenborg Foundation and Curtis of Off the Left Eye. They are getting the affiliate program going. So that's very, very good. I've asked them if I can record it or it can be recorded, and they've said yes. So that meeting, which will happen for us, it's Friday morning at 6 a.m. So it's a bright early start for me. And that will be up on our network YouTube channel as quickly as I can get it up there for people to watch. Because I think, it's all very well me turning up at a meeting and listening to them speak, but I think if we can get that information out there to everybody, it's going to benefit us all, and it's just a much better, more efficient way of doing it. So I'm really glad that they've got the affiliate program starting to kick off now. That's really great. YouTube's pretty much flatlined for us at the moment. I'm not really doing very much in the way we're getting. What are we getting? About 17 to 20 new subscribers every 28 days, which is, I'd say, it's pretty flat. But Facebook continues to grow quite significantly. And I've said before, I attribute that to the fact that I'm now uploading my videos direct to Facebook rather than getting people to go off platform to YouTube. Facebook obviously want people to stay where they are. So that seems to be working really well. So I think in May we grew by 12%. In June, no, hang on, it'd be April 12%, June by 14%, so May by 14%, June by 15%. So, and that's percentage of our, our current. So it's accelerating, which is really interesting and great to see. So very happy about that. And I've just made contact with somebody in Indonesia. Does anybody know anyone in Indonesia?
No.
So this guy, I think, is a Muslim who's reading Swedenborg and wants to know if there's anybody else in Indonesia who reads Swedenborg. So I'm trying to scratch around the new church world and find out if I can find some Indonesian people. So ears to the ground, please. If you hear of anybody, please let me know. Jack.
Have you checked the New Christian Bible Study website?
I've just written to Steve David today to see what he can tell me. So, because, I figured he would probably have more sense than anybody really of what's available. This guy's doing sort of rough and ready translations into Indonesian, or he's working with very, very basic English to read the English translations. So anyway, we'll see what happens. But it's an interesting development that's taking place. So I think it just shows some of the power of what we're talking about doing and just networking. The fact that we've got an incredible spread across the world is really encouraging. So that's check-ins. Now, in terms of tech, Lisa, you said you had cameras. I'm just wanting to see what we've got. Okay. Roz, are you bringing anything in terms of tech or website or something that you use for your creative process?
I brought Liz, so that covers that.
There you go, Liz.
Jack and Becky, hi, I'm Rosalind with Deborah's Tree, and Liz, her real name's Lisa, as you can see, is our tech person. So
yeah, it's Lisa Suzanne, and they start calling me Liz because I asked them to, because in the 8th grade there was 2 Lisas, and we would get each other's school papers. Okay. I didn't want people seeing my grades on my school papers, okay?
You're right.
Fair enough, too. Fair enough.
Very clever. Yeah. Very clever.
Yeah. Jack, have you brought anything, mate, in terms of tech?
No, well, nothing that I can show you, but I could give you some tips on how to put music on or separate music from video.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if that's useful to anybody, but what I can do with the radio station is I can source any song anywhere at all on YouTube and be able to capture the YouTube video and separate the audio. Okay. And the radio station's got all the licenses for that, of course. If you've not got licenses for that, you can't do it. But
cool. All right. Well, that's good. We'll do that one. It sounds worthwhile. And I mean, even if this group here doesn't gain anything from it, the fact we're putting it up on a YouTube channel, others may well benefit. So that'd be great. Becky, did you bring anything along, or you just here to watch and learn? Cool. And what we'll do is when I come to you, we'll talk podcasts, because that was the question you brought. I think that's worth exploring. I've brought Keynote, which is like PowerPoint, and just show you how I use Keynote a bit in what I do. So Lisa, do you want to do cameras?
Sure. Okay. So the first thing I want to say about cameras is that they need to live in plastic boxes so they don't get wet. Is the best place for cameras to live. So inside plastic boxes, this is the first camera I'll show you. It has a little battery. And this is, I did so much research to try to find the correct camera. Okay, so this is not the lens this camera comes with. This is a
Diamond Vision?
Yeah, this is actually, it's cheap, but it's a wide angle lens. So if for whatever reason, a wide angle lens is to make a wider angle. If for any reason you're sort of in a short room, but you need to get in like a whole bunch of people around a table.
Yeah.
They make things that are potentially better. Something called the owl to go around a table and videotape your meeting, but it's $1,000. So this was like $500 because these are an old model camera This is a Canon VIXIA HF R800 HD. HD, it means it only shoots in 1080p, 1080 pixels, so it's a slightly smaller picture than if you want a 4K one. But for YouTube, this is also called the camera that built YouTube, and it has a couple impressive things that other cameras of its size do not have. And so when you open it, it turns on. One of them is this port, which is very important, HDMI port.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So HDMI out, that means the signal can come out and go into your computer if you want to use it for a Zoom. And I use this for my audience camera Zoom if I'm taping a brunch event or video recording a brunch event. I guess we don't say taping anymore. That just shows how old I am. If you want to video record and you want to do a setup in Zoom where you flip between cameras. So I would have one camera on a speaker like Roz, and I would have another camera on the audience. So if Roz is speaking and she wants to take questions from the audience, I can flip onto this one. This does have Zoom capability, not the program Zoom. I mean zooming in, right? So you can zoom in on your audience member who's asking a question if you're standing there. Unfortunately, I have to run all the cameras myself, so I have to kind of set up a group shot. The only downfall with this particular piece of equipment, it runs on SD cards, right? Little microchip cards. I don't have one right on me now, but because I take them out between shootings so I can empty them. But unfortunately, this was made so long ago that every 15 minutes, it stops and makes a segment of video. So when you go to edit this, the output from this, that's the trade-off. You're getting a cheaper camera because you're buying them almost all used, right? They're used on Amazon. And the trade-off is you have to stick all those 15-minute segments and render it into a continuous one to edit it in with your main camera footage. So, but other than that, I can't complain about this one. This has been really great, very affordable. It also has, this is another thing cameras its size don't often have. And you probably can't even see, but there are threads you can use to stick this lens or any other kind of lens on there. Often small cameras like this, small camcorders like this, this is technically a camcorder, not just a camera. They won't have that. And if you can't interchange the lens, that gives you somewhat less flexibility. Okay, go to sleep, you. All right, battery on the back, but also power input. It has a.
Oh, that's important. Yeah.
It's super important, and also it has. This is its microphone. It has a jack for a mini microphone. So it doesn't have a top mount. So you have to get. I have a special thing, a rig that I attach it to, which I did not bring right now. But I'll show you some other day when we talk about tripods and mounts for cameras. But yeah, so that's a very important thing is sound. I'll show you the main camera. This also lives in a plastic box. It's very important to have cameras live places. Because if they don't, then they can get hurt. So this is my main camera, and usually it comes with it didn't come with this. I had to buy this extra. It has this on top of it. That's its mic. And you'll notice this is a little unusual. This camera can accept something called XLR inputs, which a lot of older mics have this, and that just goes right in there. Click. Or it also can accept in a different slot. It has a place for these small mic input. Now, why do I use this one? It's because this whole part on here is for sound, and you can get a left and a right one. So often when I'm taping brunch events, I will have this one be the room mic, and then this connects to a mic that Roz or our speaker is talking into. So that's super important. This one does not have the limitation that the other one had. This will record continuously. Wow. Okay, I didn't bother to secure that down. So, also, always try to secure your camera stuff down because you don't want it falling off at inopportune moments while you're trying to work. So this, okay, and the battery is not in here either, so I'm not going to turn this on. This one has 2 cards, which is good. 2 cards, which is good if you need a backup one. If you have a card you think it's going to fill up, you want it to tape on the other one. It has some other. Okay, getting my webcam to focus on this is an interesting
to start with.
Yeah, I don't know why it's might be light levels. Okay, so what else is on here? Infrared. I don't use that to tape people, but if you want to go ghost hunting, it has that as a feature. Also, it on the other side, it has the all-important HDMI mini HDMI out. Okay, super important. Also, the plug-in for the small mic input, and headphone jack, so you can listen, which Roz knows I don't do enough to make sure that you're recording your audio correctly, which is a huge deal, and I wish that it was something I was better at. It also has interchangeable threads, so you can put different lenses on it. And it has this rocker is for the zoom, so you can zoom in and out. I find that a lot better than excuse me, a webcam. I like webcams, getting them to zoom in and out and focus is not optimal often, so that's important. So you can get those last 2 I showed you are like camcorders. Sometimes they call them prosumer. They're not professional technically, but they're a grade above what a lot of consumers would have.
Sorry, Luke, I'm just going to hold it. Jack, can I get you to mute your microphone, mate? Because it sounds as though there's a bit of interesting noise and stuff going on from your.
All right, I would have been. Is it a lawnmower?
I don't know, but are you able to mute while you're listening?
Sorry, yeah.
Hey, no worries.
How do I do that on here?
Down the bottom, you'll have a mic. Yep, cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Go, Lisa.
Okay, this is also in a plastic box. Just, I didn't show it to you, but don't think I'm running around with cameras that don't have a box to live in, because I'm not. This is a Canon EOS R7, and this, usually when you buy it, it comes with this lens, but the best thing about these is, or if you earn a lot of money, which I don't, you can interchange the lenses with like a lot of different. So if you want a special shot by moonlight, it will do that. If you want to film sports and have it, you can film at a higher rate. You can film in RAW, which is a format that like professional movie makers use. I don't use it. I'm not making things for Netflix, but and this is not a Netflix approved camera, but it has been a good backup camera. And the issues I have with it are primarily having not been, it also has, okay, this is your screen. The issues I have with it for what I want to do is that while it does have the HDMI out, okay, wait, that's not the HDMI. Those are where the SD cards go. It can shoot in 4K. It can shoot in like sort of formats that are higher than 4K. Battery goes in there. Where are the parts that I'm really looking for? Okay.
Your HDMI port?
Yeah. Okay, so hold on. One of the things that I don't like is that things are on top of each other. It does have the HDMI out port. Why don't I know? And this is, I believe, sorry, I have a visual problem. Okay. HDMI out. This has something called, not a mini HDMI out, a micro HDMI. So you're going to have to use a different cord with a different, there's 3 different HDMIs. There's regular HDMI, there's mini HDMI, which the other 2 has, and there's micro HDMI, which is this one.
Just really small.
It's just really freaking small. Sort of a little rhombus shaped and not anyway, so the things I don't like about this camera, there's so much to like about this camera. It takes really good pictures, but for video, the drawbacks are it only wants to use batteries and not plug in. The other ones, the other 2 I showed you, both you can plug them in while they're filming, so you don't have that like nagging feeling like, shoot, is this gonna run out of batteries? And indeed, sometimes this does run out of batteries on me. So I have only used it as a backup camera, and it does a pretty good job of getting that, like, if you ever see in any videos that I've done, like a long establishing shot, I guess they would call it, which is just like the whole room. I use it for that. But you can get something that I don't have, because I gotta put aside some money for it, which is a dummy battery. And they're made by some other off-label group, right, for cameras like this. And they pretend to be a battery, but really they're plugged in. And the only reason why I didn't pursue that option immediately is because it voids the warranty if you don't use the correct battery and all that stuff. And this, I should say, the main camera I use, when I bought it, was about $1,500, and now it's more. This was probably even a little more. I think it might have been $1,700, and now it's probably more. So because it has the ultra 4K. This is a 4K camera. This is a 4K camcorder. I would say if you want to shoot, 4K just lets you crop it down mostly. Like, you're not going to be on Netflix, and you don't need 4K for YouTube. You only need really 1080p. So if you get this is awesome, because it will let you record and also output your HDMI onto Zoom or whatever platform you're using to record. This thing, I didn't know this had a limitation. It will not let you record and output your HDMI to a Zoom at once. So that's what makes it a backup cam for sure. it will let you do one of those things at once. So you can either record or you can output to the Zoom. Now, if you're recording the Zoom, that's one way to get around it. You could at least record. You could at least record the Zoom. So if I was ever really stuck, if my main camera didn't work, I could maybe use this one. But I like a camera that will both record to the HDMI chips and also output to the Zoom at once. And this doesn't do it. So, phooey for being a very lovely, very otherwise well-featured camera. It will let you infinitely adjust everything, which is bad for a beginner. You will go nuts trying to work your way through all those menus. Last but not least, what is this? Liz, this is a laptop. It's not a camera. Okay, except that it is a camera. And I have to say, this is actually my other backup. This is basically a 12-inch iPad. And you know what that is, hopefully. This is also not super cheap, but it has a camera function, and I have a tripod that I can use to stick this on, and it will record in video. And I use this also as a backup camera because sometimes things go wrong. And one thing I will say about it is, just like this, it does have a little bit of zoom capability with pinching backwards and forwards. I don't know why it's not doing it for me today. But not, I would say it's hard. It's more difficult to set up a shot, but it also is shooting in 4K. So that's kind of great because it means that you basically, if you're going to make YouTube videos and they're in 1080p anyway, what video editing software will allow you to do is crop your shots, which is wonderful because if you're videoing a live event and you have people walking through the shots and they're drinking coffee or doing crazy things, this is why I set up so many cameras, mainly because we're at these live events and there are people doing things and making noises, and it just becomes very difficult to hear the speaker sometimes, or like somebody will walk in front of a camera and stop, and you just see the back of their head. Like for 4 minutes, they're just standing there like watching the thing, and they just not conscious of the fact that they're being videotaped. So anyway, yeah, Apple iPad Pro. This is not the latest model of this, but I think it's they sell it 12 inches by 9 inches, and one of my parents bought this for me.
Lisa, I've got a question, if it's all right.
Yeah.
Back to your Canon. So
Yes.
I've got a couple of Canon M50s that I use.
Yes, they were the kind that came out before the EOS R7.
Yeah,
The
okay.
R7.
Yeah. So I use dummy batteries, and they've been absolutely fine. They've been great.
Awesome.
But the thing that I'm struggling with at the moment is that what I'm finding is, because of where that mount is, the HDMI port is, and you attach then an HDMI cable, which is inherently pretty heavy, it starts to kind of disconnect, and I end up occasionally with a shot where, it's focused on me doing the address and it will cut in and out, and that's really annoying. Do you have that problem?
I haven't. Well, okay, so this is my HDMI cable. They're not all, I don't know if they're all inherently heavy. I do have some HDMI cables that are thicker.
I mean, mine, I'm running a 10-meter cable, so it's, it's pretty heavy gauge. Yeah.
Oh, what could you do about that?
I mean, I'm thinking at the moment I need to get, like, you can get a camera rig, which has a cable clamp on it, and that is
a pretty good idea.
That's going to cost me about $300 to $400 for the two cameras. Now we've got the money for it, but if there's a better and cheaper solution you know of, then
I'm thinking. Roz will note that a lot of my solutions involve painter's tape or duct tape.
Sure.
But also probably at Home Depot you might be able to get like a clamp and just clamp it onto something. I have the one rig thing I have for the mic, for the small Canon camera. Also, I use all, except for the iPad, I use all Canon cameras because it's just easier for me to stick with one brand, and get to know it. But there are people who are diehard the other way about Sony.
Sure.
I would say one thing I would say is use a camera brand that specifically is for cameras. Don't, like, sometimes you'll get like the big three I think are there's like Canon, Sony, Nikon, Fuji. Like those are legit camera brands. I have something, I think it might have been Samsung, but they made a camera and it originally had an app that lets you connect to stuff so you could do things on the computer with it, and they stopped supporting it. So now well, we shot our first Deborah's Tree ever video on it. The opening event one. And it just records on the SD chips, but you don't get you can't connect it for a Zoom or anything. So I'm sorry, I'm circling back to your question.
No, that's okay, Lisa. Thanks for the presentation on cameras. What I'll say is probably if anybody's got any questions, we can perhaps come to you and discuss further about camera issues and camera recommendations if you've got any.
I definitely started with it because I feel like when I first started this gig with Roz, it was my biggest concern. Like, and I think a lot of influencers start out like, oh my gosh, what camera am I gonna get? Like, of course you can just use a phone, right? But also eventually you are gonna want to maybe, or maybe not, you would want to step up from that, have a more rectangular format of video. And if you want to do that, I spent exhaustive amounts of time looking into these cameras, and there were still some things that I didn't find out ahead of time. So I'm warning you in advance. But I like the Canon brand a lot, and mainly I think what it has on those other brands are often the threads for extra lenses, which if you're shooting in rooms, now we shoot in Caronwood Village pretty often, but it used to be we had like different venues. And so if you need a wide angle lens because you're in a really tight space, or you need something else, you want to be able to have the option to put that on the camera. Okay. So that's probably a significant thing.
Lisa, what I'll mention is I might at some stage bend your ear about things like exposure and white balance, because I need to sort of get my head around those sorts of things for where I am, but I'm not going to do that on this call. You and I will get together sometime. I'll email you.
Sure.
And we'll maybe talk those things through. But thanks for your presentation. That was great. Good introduction. Jack, I might go to you, mate, with your music videos. You'll just need to remember to unmute and get your lawnmower going in the background as well. It's still there.
I know. Sorry, I've got the window open because it's really, really warm here.
Oh yeah,
absolutely boiling. For a change in Scotland, it's But Becky's got a t-shirt on. The world's upside down.
Yeah.
Well, I just really wanted to pass on the actual name of the software that I use, because probably what I use it for, the radio station, isn't awful relevant. So it's Becky will be familiar with it as well. It's Wondershare, it's called.
Are you able to screen share, mate, with us? Have you got it there in front of you?
It's a software. Do you want me to send it or something? If I open it up, I can. It takes a wee while to open.
Oh, okay, okay. So what's it called?
Filmora Wondershare.
Wondershare is all one word. Wondershare.
Yeah. A video editing software.
Okay. I'll just share my screen. That one, so we can have a look. You can just talk us through it.
Right.
Yeah. Hello.
That's quite an advanced version, but I've got an older version. But I do feel as if every now and again they update the version, and it gets, you need to relearn it all again. It's amazing how different it is each time, okay. And if you don't use it, you lose it. You know, so
yeah. Okay.
But that is the one that I was referring to, David. And it's great because you can load up your videos and cut and slice them and do all sorts of things with them. Add stuff in.
Okay. So this is editing software. Is that what this is?
Yes, editing software.
Okay.
And that's where you can. Sorry.
But you were talking about you strip off the audio of a video and use that on your radio show. Is that what you do?
Well, one of the things you can do is load up from YouTube, and once it's on, you can split the audio and the video, and then delete the video and save the audio as an MP3.
Okay. Yeah.
And then download it back onto your computer so that you've got an MP3.
Okay.
I could just put the MP3 onto the radio show when I'm recording.
Okay.
So that's one of the things. But while Liz was talking, it struck me that I'm at the absolute other end of the spectrum when it comes to cameras, and I've started using my phone, but I found it a really cool piece of equipment. It's like a selfie stick, but it's got a tripod in the bottom, and it's also got a detachable remote control. And I've also got I find this works amazing, by the way. But I've also got these wee mics that you put on your lapel, and you plug. There's one here for wind if it's windy outside as well. You plug them onto your lapel, and you put this little gadget into the bottom of your phone, and the microphone connects to that when it's on your phone. But it's not Bluetooth. It's a kind of radio signal, and it leaves your Bluetooth spare for using remote controls. But the wonderful thing about this as well is it's got a face recognition feature. So as you're walking about, it'll follow your face, and the signal you give it is that, and then it starts following your face. And if you put your hand up, it stops following your face. So it's pretty amazing. And the remote control that is on, I'll show you this wee. I think it's a really good piece of kit. This little thing here swivels, so your phone can sit either like that, like landscape or portrait, and this is what it sits on to follow your face, and it extends a bit out as well, so it doubles up as a selfie. And you also, if you open it up at the bottom, it's got a tripod on it as well. So it's a pretty cool piece of kit. And then you can detach this little gadget here. You can detach that, and that's the remote control. And that controls all the different features by Bluetooth. And as I say, your radio frequency is using your microphone, so it doesn't interfere with that. One of the things I'm wondering is, will I be able to wear this microphone when I'm doing my talk at conference this year and still have a microphone that's like projecting my voice out to the people I'm speaking to without there being feedback and interference? So that should be interesting to try. But I just thought that was Really good piece of kit. It's also got a light on it, and the light is magnetic. It comes off, and you can stick it on the side or different places. It's quite bright as well. So highly recommend that piece of kit for starters. You know, just if you're just an amateur, but the stuff that Liz has got, maybe someday I'll have that kind of kit. But at the moment, this is. Oh,
so Jack, what's that called, mate? What's the name of that?
It's a. I think it's called Smart M1 Pro.
Okay.
There is an updated version of that, but when I did the reviews, I wasn't really that keen on the updated version because all it did was give you a big longer selfie stick, really.
Okay.
And a bit more control. So I think that was only about 40 quid, which was a really good price.
Okay.
And the microphones were only about 30 as well. So the whole thing was under 100 quid.
Yeah. I would say the answer to your question about having two microphones is they should work together without any problem. The only issue is going to be if you've got two radio mics that are both transmitting on the same frequency, that's when you're going to run into trouble. But that's very unlikely, I would say. Would you agree, Lisa?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I would say it's possible to have microphone interference sometimes. I did get a little. Roz, did you have luck with those little mics? I think I got you one once. And you're muted? You're still muted. Roz is on mute. Hi.
I unmuted. I don't use it very often. I sort of forget that I have it.
Okay.
So I can't really speak to that. I feel like it didn't really make that much difference for recording my videos, but
yeah, I found out eventually that it actually doesn't. Those little ones don't work with the iPad software. They work with the iPhone. So for the OS, the operating system. So, yeah, it didn't work for me, but I'm happy that it worked for you, Jack. And there is a thing with, it's possible for wireless microphones like to be on the same channel and interfere with each other. Something at our last brunch event was causing interference to the Zoom mic. So even though Zoom is super good at filtering it out, when I listened to the actual footage of it, it was like buzzing, and I was like, I wonder if that's that mic interference. But that's the first time I've run into it, and we've been doing events for like 3 years. So I'd say it is uncommon. And I have to figure, but fortunately also I was able to use software. I know both my other video editing softwares, Adobe and Pinnacle Studio, will both allow you to detach the sound from your video and look at it. And I was able to delete actually the input from the mic that was buzzing. As I said, I had two mics going attached to that camera. So I was able to delete off the buzzing one, and that instantly solved a lot of problems. And also Adobe, I have recently discovered, I don't know if they only added this in the 2025 version, because there used to be another way to do sound fixes in Adobe, but now they have this this whole panel that allows you to shift down things and enhance people's speaking voices. I think it's a little AI. It's pretty cool. But if you do it too much, it sounds like you have auto-tune on your speaking voice, which is very strange. But so I'm really thrilled to, I need a drink of water. I'm really thrilled to discover that there are fixes to a lot of audio. It can't be completely ruined, but yeah. So to answer your question, Jack, I don't think you're going to be worried about, but what I would do and what I should have done before last time is test it in advance of whatever your event is that you're going to record it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the new mic, I'd broken a mic, and the new one came in at just like 24 hours before I was supposed to deploy it. So, but in retrospect, I maybe shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I think it's a good tip for anything is, yeah, test ahead of time. I've fallen into that trap myself before. Thanks, Jack. That's great. I might get you just to maybe email me the details of the little stand, just so I can pop it up in the description for folk who are interested in it.
Sure, David, I will do it.
Awesome.
I can even send you the link on Amazon if you want.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'll pop that in for people who are interested in that bit of kit. Becky, I might go to you with your questions about podcasts, and we'll have a chat around that.
Okay, thank you. And all really interesting stuff. So I want to do, I've done various things associated with websites. At the moment, I haven't got the energy to be creating videos or whatever and send people to a website. So I want to make a series of podcasts. And I know that you can share them on Spotify and Apple and that sort of thing. And I have done that in the past on a really moderate level. But if you're not sending somebody to, sorry if this is really noddy, but if you're not sending somebody to a website, what are we doing? So if we're on Facebook and we're advertising, we've got this blog post, are we better off just attaching the recording? How would I go about this?
All right, anyone got any thoughts on that? Yeah, Jack, you.
One of the things I've been looking at, I don't know if anybody else might be more familiar than me, but a QR code that you just point it at the screen and it takes you right to the website. I think that's quite a useful thing. You can use that on
sending people to Spotify that way.
It sends people to websites and things as well, I think.
But if I wasn't going to have a website.
All right, is that what you said? Sorry, yours kind of froze a wee bit. I never caught everything you said. I actually thought you were referring to New Church camps as well.
I was thinking of doing this standalone for the time being, but it could go on the New Church Camps website. To be fair, I hadn't really thought of that.
Okay. You might be familiar with QR codes anyway. They're quite good.
So, Becky, one of the things that I do, and I've had now for 10 years, is a SoundCloud account. I mean, I'll show you mine just so you can see it. There's a certain level of free space available, but I pretty quickly used it up. Given that it's my oldest social media platform, it's also my least well subscribed. So I think I've got 37 followers. But so look, essentially what I do is, I record, as you know, probably, I record my sermons, my addresses each week. As Jack does, I strip the audio off the video and just drop the audio into this. And one of the things that I can do here is make this downloadable. So, you know, if you go to our link tree, which has all of our socials listed, one of the things it says, you know, you can download these for free. I haven't gone all the way in terms of some of the stuff you can do with podcasts. Like there's things like having square artwork. Like you would have seen that the artwork on that is square, but that, you know, so to get onto Apple Podcasts and stuff, there's some really quite techie, nerdy things you have to do. And I don't know what they are, but I do know people who could tell you. We've got a guy here in Melbourne who's my tech guy, Rowan, who's got a much better sense of that. Do you want me to put you in touch with him?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I'll see because I know he's told me to do a lot of stuff which has just gone over my head, and I quite frankly don't have the time to do it. But if I put you in touch with him, he's got a sense of stuff tech stuff. And yeah, Lisa, what's your knowledge in terms of podcasts and all that kind of world? Do you get into that?
We are developing a podcast, and we have a couple in the can. There are things I wish I had done prior to setting up a podcast, and a main one would be understand that a lot of people aren't radio savvy. Your guests or somebody you may want to interview, or even a person who wants to be on the podcast regularly, just may not understand the rules of radio as you understand them. So I think if you're gonna be on a podcast and interview people who are not regular guests or who haven't done this before, it's hugely important to lay out the rules in advance, and maybe also have some like techniques for refereeing. A conversation between two people may be a lot easier, but if you have 3 people or more people, you may need to have some mechanism of refereeing, or like I got us some little timers we can flip over, stuff like that, because it's complicated, and there are things people will do, like sip their tea very loudly close to your microphone, which makes like you don't want that sound, and you don't want people banging the table, and you don't want I was always taught, I learned some of these things when I was a child, because I went to Cine Kid, which was like a kids and video after school activity, and so a lot of my coping things are like, the first thing you had to be able to do to be in this program was know how to sit down and shut up. Like literally they would put it to us that way. So I realized when I was doing the podcast that I was instinctively sitting on my hands, because I had done that when I was 11. So, you may need to like brief people and do a practice round. I know we tried both sort of like a off the cuff interview where we didn't know what each other was going to say, and then more structured ones where we had planned out a little bit more in advance what people were going to say. And I'm still trying to edit together those 2 or 3 different attempts. And it seemed like it hadn't come together in the way I expected it. And so I was kind of like, I was thinking about reworking my strategy, and I sometimes have a little health issues that involve brain fog, and I think it just got put on the back burner.
Sure.
Because I desperately want to do this podcast, but I also don't want to start like, oh no, I didn't get to talk enough, or like that person talked too much and this person didn't get enough time. And so I'm still trying to, I'm sure it will get better with practice. But there may be for some people, that's the only thing I would warn you of, is there's an initial hurdle of getting over some of the unfamiliarity that people have with it, because it's radio. We don't listen to a lot of radio now. Maybe some people listen to podcasts, but there are, and I'm not sure all the radio rules I learned when I was young apply to podcasts. So I've also never, hadn't done a podcast previously. It was just something people are like, yeah, let's do that. Then I don't know. I still have high hopes that I will figure out how to make it work. And we did get some podcasting gear, which I could bring at a later date, that will record the mic inputs separately. So that's actually kind of nice. You can buy a device for that.
Jack, you got a question, mate? Or
Yeah, well, it was just an observation, really. I don't know if this is relevant. I don't know whether you would be interested in doing it online. I don't know. But Lomond Radio have just opened a podcast studio, and I can get access to it, obviously. So just something to think about.
Awesome.
I think they hire it, so there would be a small cost, but obviously that's something that could come out with various budgets.
Thanks, Jack.
But I might use it at some point in the future on a face-to-face level.
Yeah.
Becky, can I ask you plans? Is it something where you would be having conversations with people?
I haven't actually thought about doing that, but Liz has given me some thoughts. But I think it was going to be more you in your bedroom recording at home kind of thing to start off with, and hoping the kids don't arrive home while I'm trying to record, which is generally what seems to happen, and then the PC's on and all of that. But I
did want to say Sage Cole is a member of the network, and she's done a lot of interviews. She does. It's not just podcasting, is it? And I just feel like she's pretty familiar with the interview sort of tech.
Thank you.
Want to contact her.
Thank you very much. I'll have a look.
I mean, look, so we've started doing interviews where we are with and across the world. Jack was my second victim. I mean, one of the things that strikes me is, you can do an interview on Zoom or on Google Meet and use the audio. Obviously the audio, the quality is going to be a bit maybe, but it's an interesting way to start. Don't like the idea, Lisa. It's an interesting way to start, and to get guests who are further away. I think there's probably ways of dealing with that issue. Anyway, it was just a thought. So, but yeah, I mean, I could share with you what I've got. So when I started doing with my SoundCloud account, 2014, I think I first started it, and I was recording stuff in Canberra. I basically just went all out on getting the best microphone that I could, plugged it into my computer, and used my computer recording software to record it and then edit it. And I think I just used like GarageBand on my Mac to record it, and then uploaded it. I haven't bothered with anything like title music or intro, outro, all this sort of nonsense. I just recorded the talk. That's kind of all that I did.
Okay.
But for me as a musician, and you'd be exactly the same, is the sound quality. I can watch the ugliest video.
Yes.
But if the sound quality is horrible, if there's a buzz in the background, then no, I'm out. So that's what I think I'd focus on, and get the sound nice and clear.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jack.
And that's also.
Yeah.
He had his hand up first before me.
Yeah. Go down the bottom, mate. There's a button that.
Yeah, it was working with the space bar before, but it stopped working somehow. But I recommend a good microphone. You see this? It's Rode. It's really good.
Rode's are good. Yeah.
And this was relatively cheap, but it really did change things for me on the radio station with the wee muffler as well. For the. I could send you a link for that. It's really,
please.
Really
do that, Jack. Yeah, send it to me too.
I had problems with the sound at first. It was terrible. The sound was terrible, but this changed things big time.
Yeah.
And good for you for having the pop filter for your plosives. All these, that sound makes a fuzz
Mm.
if you don't have a nice filter on it. But yeah, actually, that's film and video, or radio and video have that exact thing. It's not just you, David. It's everybody hates bad sound. So it's one of those things that I spend a lot of time being vexed over, because I know nobody's gonna watch this video if it sounds bad.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Thanks,
Becky,
guys.
Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
I don't think so at the moment. Thank you.
Okay. we'll maybe put you in, or maybe reach out to Sage Cole, given Roz's suggestion, and I'll talk to Rowan and get him to get in touch with you.
Thank you.
Look, I can very quickly share what I had if you're interested.
Mm-hmm.
Look, what I was going to just show you is the videos that I'm doing. I want to go an entire screen, and I want that one. So I use a Mac, and I use, show my screen anyway. I just use iMovie on a Mac. So you can go high end and get, I think it's called Final Cut Pro, which is all very fancy. iMovie is the kind of basic one you get with a free Mac, with a Mac whenever you buy a Mac. So that's what I've got, and that's what I use. But what I just wanted to show you is I use Keynote, which is like PowerPoint, to produce animations and overlays on top of the video. So I'm going to show you something I'm going to do there just to show you how easy it is. But things like all of this stuff over here, like I can put pictures, text, and I can do things like that using the animation feature in Keynote and PowerPoint. I don't know how good the PowerPoint animations are, but the Keynote ones are pretty good. So I just wanted to show you how easy it is to do it. And what I'm going to do is, I've got this here. I could do this in an entirely different way, but I'm going to put I'm going to circle these two headings in this particular part of the video. I don't think it'll share the sound, but I don't need the sound. Basically what I do is I take a screenshot of that, which you might have heard, but you can see down the bottom it's produced a screenshot. And then I'll go into Keynote. Yep, you can see that. And basically I've set myself up with blue screen stuff. What I do then is I'll drop in my screenshot. I've just got to find the right one. That's the one that I want. And basically I'm going to trim this image down and then just make it bigger to fill the screen. Oh, not done. Fill the screen with it. And that becomes basically my template for my, except what have I done? What have I done? I've done something wrong. You try and demonstrate something and you do something wrong.
This is where you need an undo button, isn't it?
Oh, no. No, it's all is good because I'm trying to get all of that. And it's okay. I was panicking over nothing. It's all good. So basically I want to fill my screen on the slide, pretty much. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a shape. I want to do something like one of those. And I'm going to sort of circle this very roughly. So if I put it on there, now that's currently a solid shape and I don't want any fill, so no fill, but I do want a border. Ta-da. Yeah, that'll do for the, actually I'm going to make it that one because I quite like that one, and I'm going to make it red. All right, now make it a bit bigger. All right, now one of the things Keynote allows me to do is I can build in, and this is where the actions get cool, I can tell it to line draw. So it'll draw around like that. Okay, so then what I do is I'm now going to delete my template, and then I'm going to take these 3 slides, the 2 either side of it as well, and I can export it as a movie. So I want slides 11 to 13. Go to the next slide, next build. Okay, so that just defines how long things last. I tend to go big for this. I tend to go 30 seconds between each one because that gives me lots of space between each animation. I'll click on save, export it. It'll think for a little while because I've given it a good long 3 slides to export. This is why I didn't do the whole movie for you, because I'd be sitting here forever watching it export. Okay, now it's done it. So what I'll do is I go back into iMovie and I'm going to load that up, desktop. Yeah, let's try it. Prize for who spots. This one down here. Here it is. Okay, import selected. Right, and there it is. It's popped up here. Now it's 30 seconds long. What I don't want to do is replace anything else. So I'm just going to grab a bit of it. But you can see that it does that. And I'm going to grab, and let's take. Have I got, yep, that's the bit that I want. 20 seconds. And I'm going to drop it on here. And what it will do, you can see that it blanks out the whole lot. But then what I do in Keynote, in iMovie, is tell it I want blue screen. And then if you see what happens here, if I go play it, let's, fingers crossed. I don't think you'll hear me speaking. Oh, perfect timing. There you go.
Good job.
So then what I'm going to come back and do later is do exactly the same thing for the one underneath it. But you can see it's actually really quite easy to put in all sorts of animations in what I've done. So if you, all the blue stuff that's appeared over here are animations of that kind. You know, I put in text with nice fancy transitions. The thing to be aware of if you do use this is you'll notice this one over here is green. So you just need to be aware of the color, the colors in any images you're putting in, because initially I accidentally did this as a blue screen background, and because it's filtering out blue, it did appear, but it looked kind of very monotone. So I've had to change that to a green screen rather than a blue screen, but it does that all automatically. And it's really a dead easy way of doing things like, so one of the things I've done over here is I'm reading this text, and as I read, it goes through the text. So there you go. That's using Keynote to do those kinds of things. And one of the nice things about it is Keynote has all these lovely animations and things that you can throw into it which you just get to use basically for free, which is really nice. So that was mine. That was my tech. Anybody, any questions? No? Hi, Jack.
Hi, David. I wanted to ask you one thing about regarding, you know how you do the shorts on YouTube?
Yep.
What was the name of that software you used to?
So that software is called Descript.
Descript, thank you.
I'll just show it to you just here so others can see it. I'm happy to do a walkthrough Descript as well. I think I've possibly done it before, but so yeah, look, it's it just keeps getting better and better. I can't praise Descript highly enough. It's just amazing what it does. Let's talk about hell, why don't we? So this is the latest one, and so it's just got so many different AI capabilities which I use. So one of the things it does is you edit the transcript and it will edit the video. It's got the AI tools, so it will do things like edit for clarity. It will improve your sound. I've never tried that because my sound's already awesome. Eye contact's really weird. I posted one of those to the network group months ago, that you can be looking at a script and it makes it look as though you're looking at the camera. And yeah, lots of different ways, and creates clips. So this is how I create my clips. Create a highlight reel. There's just so much stuff that it does, Jack. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And one of the things I've started doing now in my latest videos is I give it like a segment of a topic that I want it to present, and get it to present like a minute on something. So the one that's coming up on, let me think, on Thursday, what am I doing? Oh, 12 Gates to the City. And, you know, 12 Gates to the New Jerusalem. So I've given it like a segment on why is one gate so important to have in a ancient city. And I've basically told the AI engine in Descript to write me a minute or a minute and a half segment on why one gate is such an important security feature of an ancient city, and then I do my stuff either way around, either side. So we talked last time, I think, Lisa, you were here. Didn't we talk about the cost of the Descript subscription? I have a feeling we did, but I can never remember what it is. But my sense of it is, you know, for everything that it does, it's just a fabulous tool.
Yeah, I also don't remember what you said the subscription fee was, but also if you told me it was probably in Australian, right? Which wouldn't
maybe
translate to United States dollars anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they charge you in US dollars and then it gets converted to Australian or whatever. So, but yeah, okay. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I'd have a good look at it, Jack, because I think it's a really awesome tool, and they keep adding new stuff to it. It just keeps getting better. Sweet. So I'm really, really happy with it. Yeah. All right, guys, we've been going for a good hour plus, so it's time to stop. Thanks for being here, and I hope it's been beneficial to all of you in one way or another. Let's make those connections, and we'll talk about something else next time. If you've got any ideas for future topics, then yeah, let me know. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks,
lovely to see you, Becky.
Thank you.
Great to see you, Jack and Rod and Liz.
Bye-bye.
See you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.